Hello and welcome to the channel, I'm Jay. And in this video I want to answer the question, can you still get value for money at a car boot sale? So let's start by explaining how I got this stuff. First of all, as I said in the intro, I don't have time to go to car boots, unfortunately. 2 young children, busy job and loads of other stuff going on. I just don't get to go to them as much as I might like. And if I've got to choose between a car boot or some sort of vintage game store or fair, I'm going to take the vintage game store or fair where I've got a higher chance of finding things that I know I want. But I'm very lucky, I've got a fantastic friend called Mary who loves car boots and goes as much as possible, if not every weekend. She knows nothing about gaming though, which makes it quite a challenge when I sent her on a hunt to try and find me some games or hardware that I could buy and add to my collection through her. She also loves to haggle, which is great. So she sends me pictures like the ones that you're seeing on screen now, and I will thumb through them and try and see which games in those various boxes she sends that I don't own and whether I would want to add them to my collection. I'm not looking at them from a resale point of view, and I have no plans to resell what I'm going to show you, but I wanted to just show you the value of these things as far as price charting is concerned versus what I actually paid for them via that car boot sale. So I'm going to take you through a whole selection of games and some hardware. I'll tell you what I paid, what price charting says they're worth, and then at the end we'll show you the running total of what I spent versus what they're actually worth in total. And we'll try and answer that question I posed at the start. Can you still get value at car boot sales? Now, the reason I'm asking this question is that the prevailing feeling is that you probably can't these days. And most people that sell games know what they're selling. Even charity shops these days don't sell games freely on the floor anymore. They tend to sell them either directly to the likes of CEX and take whatever cash they can get, or they sell them on eBay and other online stores. So again, car boot sales are something similar. People are getting wise to the fact the games have more value these days, and they're not just selling them for 50p or £1 a go. Some of these though were super cheap. So let me take you through what we got and see what your thoughts are. I'm going to start at the very top of my list, and apologies, I am going to have to be referencing my screen and each individual game's price as I go along, so I'll try to keep that to a minimum. But I'm going to start with a piece of hardware, and let me just grab it. And it is this little beauty. Now for anyone old enough to remember these bad boys, this was the PS2, the OG PS2. Now this actually is my one, so complete transparency, it didn't come with the network adapter on the back. That's mine. This is my original from when I was 18 years old, and it still functions. However, the reason that I'm not showing you the one that was purchased at the car boot sale is that it's currently plugged in behind me, because this one for some reason is getting particular about which discs it will and won't play, which is quite hard when it comes to testing the volume of games I buy when I can't be sure the disc isn't working because the disc is broken or because this PS2 doesn't want to play it. So I'm just showing you this for illustration purposes, but what was actually bought was an original PS2, slightly more scuffed than this, but not like, you know, damaged or gross, just more scratches to the surface. No cables, no plug, just the hardware. Now this I couldn't price on price charting because there's just no kind of way of getting those specifics. So what I did instead was I went to eBay, I had a look at completed items, I looked for PS2 hardware with either no cables if I could find it, or sort of minimal things bundled, and I tried to take an average. So the price I've put on that is effectively £30. It might be slightly low, it might be slightly high. This is all just to give you indicative kind of ideas of pricing. And in terms of what I paid for that, I've only got the total figure, which I'll share with you now. We'll put it on the screen, which was £53 for everything I'm about to show you. So the fact that the PS2 is already roughly £30 worth of that value means we're in a good place. And I promise you there's a lot more to come. So that was the PS2. There was one other piece of hardware. Well, it's technically two, but let me show you. So first of all, there was a boxed, complete Wii bundle with Wii Sports and an extra Wiimote. So 2 Wiimotes, Wii Sport and the console. All cables, all boxed. I think it's even got... No, it hasn't got the sleeve, you can see. The contents is just all kind of in there. That was bought at the same time as another piece of hardware, which was also boxed and fully working. A Wii Fit balance board and a copy of Wii Fit. Now they were bought at the same time as the PS2, again as part of that £53 bundle. According to the internet, with a bit of basic searching, a Wii balance board will run you somewhere in the region of £20 now. and a board, boxed Wii and 2 Wiimotes. I've got that priced at £75 for the core console and £10 for an additional controller, which is an additional £105, which takes us up to £115 in value, which is more than double what was spent before we even start with the games. Now, to be honest, there are no big hitters in the games. There's a lot of them, there's no big hitters. But already, from these 2 purchases alone, which was the consoles and the games were bought separately, but I've totaled the prices, were £115. So, £135. Let me get my numbers right. So let me get into some of the games, and we'll see where we're at. So current running total, £135 on hardware alone, more than double what we spent. Now, the first one, which I only picked up because it came in the cardboard, but it's a fun game that I do intend to play, and that is Just Cause 3. Nicely boxed, bit of card here as well. It comes with the map, all in sort of good condition. Tested the game, barely been used, if ever been used. Not worth a lot. According to price charting, that's worth £5. I haven't priced it kind of with box and map, etc., because there's no obvious way to do that. I don't think it's worth a great deal more. It's not like some sort of major collector's piece, but it's nice to have all those pieces together, and it might be worth more in this condition in the future. So an extra £5 on there, increasing our running total. Then we have Fallout 3 on the PS3. Again, not an expensive game. That's £6 in total. Not a franchise that I think I've said before I've really gotten into, but nice to add that to the collection. That was the only PS3 game and the only Xbox One game in the collection. Everything else is PS2, one Wii game, and then some Xbox and one solitary Xbox 360. So we'll sort of pump through some of these now. So again, not a big hitter here, I'm sure, but if you're a fan of Hogwarts and all things Harry Potter, it is the first Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. In fact, sorry, that's the second game, isn't it? Cleared my throat. I'm sure this is wonderful to play. I've not really got any intention of playing it. My daughter might be interested. She's into Harry Potter at the moment. Grand total of £4 on there, but added that to what we've already spent, and we're already up to £150. So that's pretty good going. Then we have a solid one in Ridge Racer 5 on the PS2. That one is worth £7 on price charting, so we'll add that to the running total as well. I'm just going to move these around a little bit. We have then the Getaway Black Monday. Now, I don't suppose this is particularly up to much. I did play the original Getaway and enjoyed it. I don't think this was the original, was it? I'm pretty sure this is the sequel. Can't tell. Anyway, you tell me in the comments. Getaway Black Monday, again, none of these are highly valuable. Another £5 on the collection. Then we get into a couple of wrestling games. So we've got SmackDown vs Raw 2006 on the PS2. I think this is when we were transitioning as well to the 360, so they were still making PS2 titles. These are decent games if you like your wrestling. Not worth anything particularly, but a good game to play anyway. So another £5 on that one. And sticking with wrestling, we've got SmackDown Shut Your Mouth. Now this is one of the better recognised PS2 games, one of the more popular in the SmackDown franchise. So quite pleased to add that actually, because I've read a lot about this recently and was keen to pick up a copy. So a nice way to get it. And again, another bit of value in that one at £5. Then we move on to Burnout 2 Point of Impact. Loved the Burnout games back in the day. And truly, when we're talking from Burnout 1 to kind of Burnout Takedown, they just got better and better and better in leaps. You know, it wasn't small crawls in evolution, it was leaps in quality. So Burnout 2 Point of Impact really took the Burnout series up a notch. And again, that one is worth £5 again. Then we have Midway Arcade Treasures. And I should say, by the way, in price charting, they don't give you these round numbers. They'll be like £4.87 or £5.12. I've rounded to the closest pound. So some have rounded up, some have rounded down. It broadly evens itself out. Midway Arcade Treasures, collection of games on here including Spy Hunter, Defender, Joust, Paperboy and many others. Not one I'm that fussed about, to be honest, but a nice one to own, and that one also has a value of £5. Then a surprising drop in value, only a little bit, but percentage wise it's quite a big drop. Prince of Persia, The Two Thrones. I think dropped off Prince of Persia by the time this one came out. Loved the first one, played through the second one When I say first and second, I mean the 3D ones on the PS2. By this time, I was still buying them, but I wasn't really enjoying them. I think, and let's not say it's not a good game, by the way. I just kind of lost interest. This one, though, not massive value on that one. It is, let me find it, £3. Then we get into a bit of racing. We got Need for Speed Pro Street. Again, played a lot of the Need for Speed games back in the day. I don't know that I played this one. I think most of my time on Need for Speed... Oh, what was the title? It'll come back to me. Not Underground. I've got Underground in this pile. Need for Speed Most Wanted. That was the one I played the most of. But Need for Speed Pro Street. Again, most of the Need for Speed games are solid, to be honest. There aren't many bad titles in that series. Need for Speed Pro Street, not a highly valuable one again, but in there at £4. Then we have the lesser of the two Hulk games on the PS2. We have Hulk, which is based, I think, on the movie, the Eric Bana acted movie. I'm not sure I can't remember who the director's name is now. Anyway, decent game, not as good as the Incredible Hulk, which I did play and complete back in the day. Very, very similar, I think, in many ways in terms of mechanics. And again, not a highly valuable one at £4. And then sticking to the Burnout theme for pile number 1 is the original OG Burnout. I will say, condition-wise, most of these games are, I would say, okay to good. Some of them, like this one, have got little tears in the cover. I'll try and zoom in on that when I'm doing the edit if I can. But Burnout, the original, again, not a high value one here at £6, higher than some of the ones we've had so far. But again, they're all in and around that figure. Now at this point, we are halfway through the stack of games, and our running total is £199. So nearly 4 times what was spent to acquire them. Now I know there's nothing big here, and the chances of scoring these at exact prices if you were to sell them are probably not usually realistic. But from a collector's perspective and a collection perspective and value for money, it's still 4 times the value, and we haven't got to the end of the pile yet. There's still some more to come. So let's move on to pile number 2, and we'll start again. PS2, Midnight Club 2. I did play this back in the day. Really enjoyed the Midnight Club games, to be perfectly honest. These were a good bit of fun back in the day. Again, not a massive value, another £5. Now there were 2 copies of this, but I did end up consolidating them into one really kind of good quality copy and chucked the other one away. I know, naughty me. Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. The second copy of this was a combination of, one was a scratched up disc, one without a manual, and a beat up box, so I swapped them around to get the best of both worlds. So really there were 2 of these, but I've only kept the one that was worth keeping. £6 on that one from a price point of view, so we'll rack that up. Then we have, as I mentioned earlier, one of the better Prince of Persia. So this was the sequel to the original PS2 one. This is Warrior Within. I did play a lot of this one. I wasn't a big fan of dark and broody Prince. I preferred the sort of bright and breezy Prince of the first one. And I think that's what put me off a little bit. It didn't need that tone shift for me. Will we ever see the remake of Prince of Persia, by the way? Did it ever come out? I think it got moved to is it January next year? Yeah, let me know in the comments. So Prince of Persia Warrior Within. That one has a value of £4 on it, so again, not massive. And then we've got a few OG Xbox games. So let's start here with a game I would never have bought back in the day and will probably never play. You tell me if it's any good in the comments though. Rally Sport Challenge 2 on the original Xbox. Not a one I would ever buy, but again, it was picked up as part of a bundle. Some of these ones I got to choose out of a box. Some of them were bought as bulk and just appeared. And this one, Rally Sport Challenge, again, another £5. FIFA Street 2 is next on the original Xbox. I did own this back in the day on the PS2. I've always been a sort of buyer of FIFAs and PESs back in the day, or Pro Evolution Soccer. I do remember FIFA Street being a good bit of fun. Obviously a lot more arcadey than kind of sim. Ronaldo's our cover boy here. But again, good condition this one, to be fair, and not worth huge amounts at £5. Then we've got a game I have never played and probably wouldn't have purchased back in the day, Conflict Global Storm. Now this one is worth a grand total of £4. It's got a nice sort of shiny holofoil cover, if that's coming across on the video. Yeah, just about to see that there. Again, it's all adding to the value, but again, not one that I'm too fussed about. Now back in the day, this sort of game at the right time in my life would have been a lot of fun. By the time Athens 2004 came around, I wasn't particularly interested, but I did play a lot of the Olympics games back in the day, or things like International Track and Field. So this one quite clearly is based on Athens 2004, which roughly dates it as well. This is probably one of the cheaper ones in the pack at £3. So not a huge amount of value, but it is in good condition, and they're a good bit of fun to knock out when friends come over for like silly party games. So I shall hold on to it all the same. Back to OG Xbox. I think I played this back in the day. This was riding off Hugh Jackman's success and rise to fame as Wolverine. He then played Van Helsing in the Van Helsing movie, which was fine. And then they brought the game out. I don't think I ever played the game. Having said that, I may have had it on like a Love Film rental, if you remember Love Film rentals. I think that was perhaps a PS2 I'd have had it on, because I didn't have an OG Xbox. Nice to own, in good condition, and that one's worth £5. So where are we at the moment? £236, if my numbers are correct. Don't spot check my maths in the comments, please. Now this game's rubbish. I know it's rubbish. I had it on the PS2. That's how I know it's rubbish. And it's Peter Jackson's King Kong, the official game of the movie. Players man, players Kong. And of course it's got the T-Rex on the back, who are such a small part of the film, but made for good marketing for the game. Really not a great game, but again, weirdly, one of them more valuable in this deck. Now, none of them are highly valuable. It's £7. But still, one of the high value. This one should really be consigned to the trash, really, I imagine, because I can't imagine a world or a reason why I'd go back and play this. But we have got LMA Manager 2004, including all the January 2004 transfers. And on the back, we've got exclusive commentary from Alan Hansen, Gary Lineker and Barry Davis. So again, not a hugely valuable one, but part of that set that came through here at £3. I think the most valuable game in the collection is this next one, and I mentioned it earlier on. That's Need for Speed Underground. Now, I played a lot of this game. I specifically remember the drag racing being a lot of fun. Chuffed to add this one to the collection because I genuinely would revisit this. This one's worth £9, so it's the most valuable. But you know, we're talking an odd pound, not sort of like tens. But still, another £9 collection, taking us up to 255. 2 games left, boxed, and then a couple of loose ones, which I'll show you at the end. That's my alarmo dinging off then, if that comes through on the mic. And then we've got Prince of Persia Rival Swords, the only Wii game other than the Wii consoles that came here. Never played this back in the day. I wasn't really playing big games like this on the Wii. Looks like it has some screenshots that are very similar to the Two Thrones. So whether these are similar but slightly different games. Oh, it says play the entire Two Thrones adventure on the Wii. So it must be the Two Thrones just played with Wii controls. Discover a complete new way to play with the Wiimotes and nunchucks. Yeah, I mean, it was a new way to play a lot of things. It doesn't mean it was a good way. But anyway, Rival Swords, that one was worth £5. And then a 360 game to finish off, Need for Speed Hot Pursuit on the 360, worth £5. There were then 2 loose games that for some reason made their way into the bag that I received. Well, I think they weren't. In fact, they were in the consoles. That's where they were. So Need for Speed Volume... Sorry, not Need for Speed. NBA Street Volume 2. Again, not a game I would have bought, just the disc. I don't know what to do with this. It's worth apparently £9 loose, and more boxed. I don't know if I'll ever come across a box. I don't really want to keep loose games. It's not really something I want to get into the habit of. Tempted to give it away. If anyone has a need for it in the comments, let me know. I'll gladly send it to you. But anyway, Need for Street. God, I can't get my words out. NBA Street Volume 2 on the PS2. And the other loose game was in the Wii, and that is new Super Mario Brothers Wii, which apparently has a value of £6 loose. Again, don't know what to do with it. If you would like a loose copy, or you have an empty box and require the loose disc, let me know and I will get in touch with you and we can sort out sending that. So in total, that brings the full value, at least from a price charting perspective and a little bit of eBay on the consoles, to £280. So over 5 times the value, than what we paid at that £53 purchase point.
The point is, I'm rich, rich, rich!
So, you know, take that as you will. Is that definitive proof that you can still get good value at car boots? I think on lower value games like this, you probably can buy in bulk and get good deals. Are you going to stumble across a collector's edition version of a game, or something that is incredibly rare and worth 50, 60, 70, 100 or plus? Probably not. I think that's the reality is there. Most sellers probably get wise to that. A lot of these are in the boxes and buckets they're in because they're not worth a lot, and it's easier for them just to sell them in bulk. I have got some more coming. I'm going to be seeing Mary sometime in the next few weeks, and she's also got a Game Boy Pocket for me, to look at, which is exciting. And I get texts, like I said, every few weeks when she goes to these car boots and finds things. So one day, who knows, maybe I'll find that highly valuable, undervalued treasure. I think though, if you're looking for some of those filler games, there's some good quality in there still, but there's nothing like outstanding. You probably can get some value, and certainly you can score. I think if you were looking to trade these in, they're probably not worth anywhere near 280 from a CEX trading perspective. But if you're willing to sit there and sell them slowly online, you might make some money on them. You might get a few quid here or there. Like I said, not big margins, but certainly, 5 times the investment there to get 280 at the other end. And then I want to finish the video by showing you something and asking you for your help, because there was this Amazon, I assume it's a Fire Stick. Doesn't stand the back. If you can see that, I'm going to hold it to the camera in the hope that, whoops, put your hand on the right side, James. There you go, you can see that. Now, first of all, don't quite know why there's some sort of HDMI extender. I guess it might be to give you some flex if your HDMI port's in a weird place. But more importantly, can anyone tell me why in the world you would actually drill holes into the case? Because that's what's been done on the front and back. I've got no idea why. My only assumption is some sort of heat sink or some sort of heat dissipation. I don't know whether this thing has been hacked to do more than a Fire Stick should do. I haven't plugged it in. I'm not too concerned or interested to plug it in. If you'd like to see me plug it in, I guess I can. But if you know why that's been done, I'd love to know in the comments. Let me know. Why would you drill so many holes in the front and the back? It's not even like for mounting purposes. I just cannot understand why you do it. But someone did, so let me know. Anyway, I hope you found the video interesting and you found it useful. If you are a car boot raider and you found some great deals, I'd love to know about them in the comments below. Let me know what stories you've got if you found really great deals. I know for my US viewers that car boot sales probably aren't the same as kind of what you guys have. I think it's more like garage sales and sort of flea markets or swap meets and things like that. But let me know. Anything in there impress you? Any games that brought back memories? And like I said, I'd love to hear your stories if you've got any great car boot pickups that you've scored over the years to encourage me to continue looking. But for now, I'll just ask you all to subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps the channel. Get involved in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next video.